Well, welcome on in everyone to a special, humongous episode of the Not From Philly podcast. I'm Adam from Wales with my partner, Justin from Tennessee. It's the NFC Championship. The Birds are hosting the NFC Championship game. Absolutely insane. I mean, who would have thought we'd have ended up in this position? I mean, at the start of the season, when me and you started this pod, we 4 games in after the bye week we started the podcast, something like that. And it was like we thought then, I don't think we will be, Super Bowl contenders the way it was going. We were 2-2 with the bye. Everything was like it was looking like it could be an early sort of collapse, something like that. Do you know what I mean? It was like we were injuries. AJ got hurt, then Devontae got hurt, Dallas got hurt, Jalen wasn't looking too great, and then obviously after the bye week it all changed. And somehow now we've ended up hosting the NFC Championship game. Fella, how you feel about all this? It's crazy.
What's happening, feller? Good Friday morning for all the folks here in America, and Friday afternoon for the people over across the pond in your area. But
Yeah.
you forgot an injury too. We lost Jordan Mailata for like 4 weeks as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Still kept winning. Still kept winning.
Yeah.
But you were talking about hosting the NFC Championship game. The later it got in the season, we thought, we got a shot, and then it didn't happen. But it happened. The unthinkable happened. Washington went into Detroit and pulled off the upset. I kind of predicted it. I thought it could happen, but I didn't wholeheartedly believe it would happen either. But it happened, and here we are. And it's what we wanted, but now we're nervous as hell.
Yeah, I think Rios would be too happy with me and you at the moment because we're too nervous, scared.
He'd say, "Keep your chin up, hard Chargers. The shit's fixing to get real."
Yeah, shit is getting real now. Let's dive straight into it. I mean, the game last week. It was like we were talking throughout the game, and it was at one point in the game I said to you, I think we were like halfway through the third quarter, and I was just like, they're not going to win this game. Everything was just everything was starting to turn. The offense kept struggling and struggling. Apart from the 2 Saquon runs, nothing could get going. The defense was starting to sputter a bit, and it was just like I just had this bad feeling. They talked about the weather being a factor for Jalen not being able to pass and stuff like that, but you look at the Rams and Matthew Stafford was flinging it around like it was nothing. Obviously the weather did play a part in the game. It did, but it was like I thought, oh no, this season is I can't believe it's going to be over. It was, Saquon broke off that awesome touchdown run towards the end of the game, and then they managed to get the Rams off the field again, and the ball had to come back to us. And what do? We go 3 and out. It's like we needed the offense to run the rest of the clock out, and they just, more often than not, we've seen them not be able to do that this year. Usually, apart from the was it the Steelers game? They were able to take off all that time and bleed the clock. And last season, before the collapse, they were doing that. They were bleeding the clock. They were running it, short passes, but this year they struggled a bit doing that. And we needed them to do it in that moment, and they couldn't do it, and we had to rely on the defense. And here goes Matthew Stafford and the Rams. He's flinging it. Puka Nacua catches that big pass over Darius Slay, and I'm not going to blame Slay for that because he had an awesome game last week. Yeah. He was really good, and it was just he caught that ball, and they were like, what was it like they were down to the 20-yard line, something like that, I think, and
18 to 20 something.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, they get the third down, and Jalen Carter does what we needed him to do. Them Georgia boys, I'm screaming you on a voice, no, come on, Georgia Bulldogs, they've done it again. I was like, I couldn't believe he made that stop. And then it was 4th and 11, I think. And Stafford just flung it in the air. And Jalen Carter got to him again on that play.
He got the pressure.
Yeah, he got the pressure on him, brought him down. Thankfully, there wasn't enough for a flag or anything like that. Because soon when I seen him bring him down, he just wrapped himself around Stafford and just brought him down, and it was a hell of a play. And that's what we needed him to do. And the defense showed why they're a championship defense. They really did, and it was nuts. But like you said, just on the afternoon show, your ass was tighter than a banjo string.
Banjo string.
And I think mine was as well. Mine was like bump, 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 bump. My stomach was in knots. I was like, oh my God, I was so. I hate that they do this to us in these type of games. The Eagles, they can never just like. I mean, they do it now and again. They blow teams out, or they win a game by 15 points, and you just know that we're going to end up winning the game, and you're sitting there relatively comfortable. But more often than not, in these big spots, it's like they just put us through the ringer, and they just cause us this like stress, and we're just like. But thank God the defense saved the season, and Saquon Barkley. I mean, he had a hell of a game again. He was just like that guy is just. I can't imagine what it must be like this year being a Giants fan. It must be absolute, and I feel bad for them, to be honest, because like what that ownership and the general manager, they seen what happened on Hard Knocks. They seen how they handled Saquon Barkley. The whole world did, and it was just like I still think sometimes every time I see Saquon with the ball, I'm like, I can't believe we got this guy. I can't believe we have him. Like I mean, how you feeling about last week, fella? You know what I mean?
I was having flashbacks to the Atlanta and the last Washington game.
Yeah.
I was like, this is how it's all going to end, because we the drop by Barkley cost us the Atlanta game. The drop by Devontae cost us the Redskins or Washington game. And then, I was like, my God, if AJ catches that ball, he catches it 99 out of 100 times, or if Jay makes 2 extra points, I'm thinking this is how it's going to end. The defense plays great the whole game, and then they get gashed. And, when Saquon broke that second run, I was standing up screaming and hollering, and it's over. I said,
I thought it was over as well. I thought, that's it, we go in,
And they go down and score in like a minute and a half. They drop back in some kind of stupid, ridiculous prevent type defense. Play the same defense you played the whole game. Play the way you have played the entire game. There's no need in backing up, giving 10 yards, off your man. It's ridiculous. I hate it. Just because you're up 13, there was 5 minutes basically left in the game, and they're playing prevent defense.
Yeah.
5 minutes and basically 4 timeouts when you count the 2-minute warning. So I hated that part of it. But, man, when it was over, what a relief. Like you said, man, Jalen Carter coming through on that third down, getting the sack, and it's 4th and 11. And then he gets the pressure, forces the high throw. I was looking everywhere for a flag. I was like, oh, God, they're going to say roughing the passer, or they're going to call pass interference or something. Yeah. But and I told you, my mom had cooked supper for us that Sunday, and you and I were going to do a halftime, like Instagram Live, and I was like, sorry, dude, I apologize. I can't. We're going to my family's for a, impromptu supper, and we were sitting there watching, and I hate, my family's not Eagle fans. They love Tennessee and stuff like that, but like they don't care for the most part about NFL. And my brother-in-law's there, and his son-in-law, we're sitting there watching. His son-in-law he is a big NFL fan. He's a Steelers fan, but he was kind of pulling for me, but he could see the anguish on my face, and they were laughing, and I was ready to whip somebody's ass, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. It was, but hey, we got the win, and like I said, we were saying, and I said last week, I think Washington can go into Detroit and win, and we can get the home game. Well, Washington went into Detroit and they beat them. It wasn't just a win; they beat them. And now we get the NFC Championship game at the Link, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous because we get the news Wednesday that Dallas is a non-participant for an ankle, and Cam's a non-participant for a back, and then it comes out yesterday, neither one of them practiced. I'm like, what the hell's going on here, guys? And my good friend Drew, who calls into the morning show all the time, and Go Birds, he tweeted something out that I agreed with. I would give them their guard back at 100% if I knew we could get Juergens back at 100%. I would make that trade.
Yeah,
I would. Because Juergens means that much to the line, and we weren't really sure about it coming into the season, coming off of losing Kelsey, a Hall of Fame center like that.
Yeah.
But it's like the line hasn't missed a beat. And going back to Juergens, we were talking about his injury before we got started. He never came out of the game. not one time. Nobody, like they talked about it on the radio. Nobody can pinpoint like him going to the medical tent or seeking any treatment or anything. But they said, it was one of his worst graded games of the season. He gave up four quarterback pressures, and you got to wonder if that didn't have something to do with, the back didn't have something to do with everything. So hopefully, they're just keeping him out of practice to get him more treatment, to get him as close to 100% as possible, and we don't have to see, Dickerson slide over to center and Steen come in left guard. Hopefully, we don't have to see that, and everything ends well, and we move on to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think I'm not the only one. Like, a lot of people saw that the O-line struggled in that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Rams' defensive line, they were really good the whole game. You know what I mean?
They're great.
Pressure after pressure. And, you look sometimes, when they show the close-ups of the lines going at it, and, like, you see the offensive linemen and they're getting pushed back, and you can sort of see the arches of their backs just like, bending slightly because the guy is just pushing so down hard on them. And, in those conditions, it must have been tough. And I guess it took a toll on Cam's back because, like you said, he gave up them pressures, and it was a tough day for the O-line. Apart from the runs that they were able to help break out for Saquon, it was a tough day at the office for them. You know what I mean? The passing game struggled, and that's on Jalen as well. But that's a whole team effort, and like I said again, the play calling was just, I don't know what the play calling is with the passing game. It's terrible. It's just like you said before, these long developing routes have got to stop. Especially in conditions. We said last week, this game is going to be a snowy game, and snow came in the second half, and when it came, it just absolutely battered it down. And we were like, why are they trying to, make these big developing routes and what have you? Take what the defense is giving you and get the slants to AJ. Devontae is good at slant routes. You know what I mean? We've seen Devontae cast so many slant routes, and it's just like, what are you doing? I don't understand what Kellen Moore is thinking there, or it's just so frustrating in a game like that. And I mean, you look at you look at Washington now. I watched the game the morning after because, like I said, the time difference over here, we are so far ahead of you guys in America. So like the later games like that, they don't start till 1 a.m. over here. So I've got to like record the game, and I'll get up before work the following morning and I'll watch it, or and I had it on the following morning. I like took my son, dropped Eddie off to nursery, and then come back and I put the game on, put my laptop on, and there. I got it on in the background, and my wife Charlotte, she was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" Like, because she's got a work colleague who's a big Lions fan, and he's a huge Detroit Lions fan, and I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Like, I can't believe Washington. Like, it was back and forth for a while, and then but you just knew what in the fourth quarter then that like Washington were just taking over the game, and it was like, and Charlotte was like, why are you like rooting for Washington? I was like, well, I'm not like rooting for Washington, but I mean, if they can win this, the NFC, and we beat the Rams, the NFC Championship comes back to Philly, like. But then you think then, and like now, where it's like afterwards, and it's all setting in how good Washington are, how good their defense in front are, how good their own line is. Jaden Daniels overall, he's going to be a problem in the NFC for if he keeps up this pace of play that he has. Maybe he'll be like CJ Stroud next year. He'll dip a bit. You know what I mean? The rookie thing will have worn off, and he'll start to struggle. I don't know, but if he keeps on track, he's going to be a problem for the NFC and for the NFC East. And it's like now, and I was like listening to WIP, earlier the weekend, and Spike was making some really good points. He was like, the thought of Josh Harris coming on to Lincoln Financial Field, celebrating it makes, like, he was like, you heard it, you would have listened, and it was like making him feel sick. And I feel the same way. I've been thinking about it all week, to think, well, that man, and you know what I mean? I suppose overall he's been a good owner for the Sixers and stuff, but he doesn't really care about the Sixers. You know what I mean? He's there in the background. He provides the check, the paychecks. Like Ike said a couple of days ago. Daryl Morey has always been the face of the franchise, and what have you. You know, Josh Harris has always been in the background. But to think, you know what I mean, his heart has never been in Philly. You know what I mean? It's never been in the Sixers. It's always been in the New Jersey Devils. Now it's in Washington, and it's obviously he's thrown all his attention and money into Washington. And to think that guy is going to be there, and I hate his face as well. You know, like Rios last week, he hates Kellen Moore's face. I hate Joshua Harris's face. I can't. If I see him on the front of the court at the Sixers game, or when I see him in a Washington game, I'm just like, I can't look at the guy. I cannot face. I don't know how we're going to be able to manage if this goes tits up on Sunday. It's a British slang word. That is, when everything goes wrong, everything goes tits up.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. And somebody mentioned something this week on the radio. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was a host or a caller, but it was a good point. It's almost like Joshua Harris used the money he has made from the Devils and the Sixers to go a step further and then buy Washington.
Yeah.
And, you know, it wouldn't have bothered Philadelphia fans so bad or so much if he would have bought, let's say, the Cleveland Browns or someone else. But it is a division rival that he bought. And everybody knows, anybody that knows that the Eagles run Philadelphia. It's the Eagles 1, the Phillies 2, Sixers 3, and God bless them, the Flyers 4.
Hey, I think the Flyers are number 3 now. I think the Sixers.
Probably because the Sixers are so much ahead. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what bothers people so bad. And that's why whatever fan that listen to this pod or watch our pod and everything, if you're going to that game Sunday, keep that in your mind. This sumbitch has basically ruined the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
And he now owns the Washington Commanders, and he's wanting to come into your house to take your spot in the Super Bowl. You have to keep that in your mind and just stay full-throated the entire time. Scream your lungs out. Just empty the tank, basically, like these guys say that play. You have to empty the tank, leave no doubt, because you really want to see that guy on the field at the length. You know Jeffrey Lurie don't. You know Howie Roseman don't. They don't want to see that bum up there hoisting the Hallis Trophy and then going on to the Super Bowl. I mean, this is what we asked for. We asked for a chance to host because we lost 3 games in the regular season. Any other season, you know, we're probably the number 1 seed, but the Lions had a phenomenal season, and it just so happens the Lions, you know, defensive woes finally caught up with them. So many injuries, it finally caught up with them, and I think, you know, we asked for it. Here it comes. Let's, you know, like I told you, I've been nervous about the whole thing ever since. Well, I got nervous right after that game because of how well Jaden Daniels played. But hell with it. Let's embrace it. We asked for it. It's here. Let's take it. Screw the nerves. Forget it all. We're the better team. We're the better organization. We're the better franchise. Let's beat their ass like a Cherokee drum and get their ass out of town and then go to New Orleans and win this damn thing. That's what I say.
Yeah, hell yes. Yeah, you know, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, Jaden Daniels is like, I watched him. You've probably seen him play some LSU games.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I did as well. And I saw him, and I was just like, he's like a very, you know, he doesn't look like a quarterback. He looks like he could be like a wide receiver or a cornerback or something. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that typical. But then when I was watching his games and the arm that he just has to like flick his wrist and it's 50 yards down the line. You know,
it's like Michael Vick, dude.
Yeah.
He's just not as fast. It's like Lamar Jackson. He's just not as fast. Like Michael Vick has thrown one of the prettiest balls I've ever seen in my life, and it's like you said, flick of the wrist. It just explodes. The ball exploded out of Michael Vick's hand, and it's just like the Hail Mary where they connected to beat the Bears that game. that thing went like 65 yards in the damn air.
I know.
And I was like, holy hell, this kid has an arm. You know, I mean, I knew he had an arm, but I mean, it was like nothing. I don't even think he crow hopped more than one time to do it, you know, or hell, he may have done it flat footed. I'd have to go back and watch it, but like I said, that some bitch went 65 yards in the air almost. I was like,
Yeah.
"Jeez, Louise!"
I suppose like the only thing making me feel better about this game is like we've split the series with them. You know, we beat them, they beat us, but they beat us with, you know what I mean, a backup quarterback.
Backup quarterback and our starting safety got ejected.
Yeah, got ejected out of a game which he should never have been ejected. The Commander fan attacked Chauncey, and then Chauncey's like, it's like the ref's throwing a flag at him. It's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And so that's the only reason they beat us in Washington. And don't get me wrong, like in that game, Kenny Pickett, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't amazing. He had a standard game. He came in, you know what I mean? He did what he had to, but it was just the defense struggled in that game, you know? But their defense can give up points as well. You look at the Lions game, it was back and forth for a while. And you know what I mean? I know the Lions have had a shit hot like offense the entire season, but you know, Washington have nearly lost some games. Like you said, you know, that Bears game, it came down to a Hail Mary. You know what I mean? Chicago were going to beat them if their, safety hadn't messed up in the end zone, you know, if he'd been where he was meant to be.
Yeah,
But
instead of looking back at the fans, Tony, and talking to the fans,
celebrating like it was over.
Get in your spot, you know, and just finish the game before you start talking shit and Tony. That's the way I see it. But going back to something about like the offense that's frustrating, talking about like the long developing routes and stuff like that. Like you said, we knew Elliott had reported that the snow was coming. He would be there, you know, probably around halftime, some maybe beginning of the third quarter, something like that. Like you said, why the long developing routes? Why? I mean, yeah, you want to take a deep shot every now and then to keep them honest, to let them know you're not just going to be chucking and ducking your way down the field, but hell, if you're chucking and ducking and it's working, who cares? But, you know, you have Devontae Smith, you have A.J. Brown, both can run quick slants, quick routes. These guys get open. They're number one or number two receiving duo in the league. And, you know, get the ball to them. Just get it out quick. And then, man, the play calling is very frustrating, but the thing that's also frustrating is Jalen, out of those 7 sacks, I think 3 really could have been avoided because it's like, I don't know if the clock in his head isn't going off like it should or something, but when he scrambles out, you know, you're out of the pocket. All you got to do is just flick it out of bounds. You know, that's all you have to do. Flick it out of bounds. Get it past the line of scrimmage, flick it out of bounds, and you're good. No, you can't throw it away if you're in the pocket. There better be somebody within the vicinity of the ball, or they're going to call grounding, and that's like a sack right there. But when he scrambles and he's running, and he just dips down and slides instead of flicking it, you know, that's so frustrating to me, man.
Yeah.
And I've heard people on the radio all week talking about, well, you know, Jalen's a great quarterback, and he's this and he's that. And there was a guy arguing the other day with Spike, and I got so aggravated. And I've not been a Jalen hater. I've not been on here and said, you know, he sucks and like some of these people do. And I've not been negative about him like some of the hosts and producers have at times. But like I call an ace and a spade. You know, he can be better, and that's one of the things he can and he has to be better at. Just when you're scrambling out, there's nobody there. You're out of the pocket. So don't slide for a 3-yard loss, which is basically a sack. They're out of bounds. You know, if they're right in your face, you know, throw. It cannot be. I'm not a quarterback. I'm 47 years old. Yeah, it may look easier me sitting in my damn recliner, but he's 25, 26 years old, a million times more athletic than I've ever been in my life. You can do this, dude. I mean, we've seen guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady do it. So, and he's
that's the thing.
100 times
We've
more
seen.
athletic than them.
Yeah, like we've seen him do it. You know what I mean? When he's had to escape out the pocket, he's gone on these runs and he's managed to, you know, just get to the pylon, or you know, and then 2 plays later he'll take a sack when the same situation happens, you know, or he'll like you said, he'll slide down and lose yards, and it's like, just run, Jalen. You can run. You know what I mean? Like you say, he's got the athletic ability, so it's straight. You know what I mean? I love Jalen Hurts, but like I'm the same. I feel the same as you. You know what I mean? he will need to be better in this game. But then again, there's this whole knee issue now. How good is his mobility going to be? Because you got the Washington defensive coordinator coming out saying this week, if we see Jalen running, the target is
on
his head.
Back.
Yeah, we're coming for him. And that player in Washington that took him out for the concussion, Frankie Azuzu, he's a good player, and he just wants to hurt people. You know what I mean?
He's got a mean streak about him.
Yeah, talk about someone Rios would like to have on the Eagles. I think we would as well. You know what I mean? He's all about the violence.
If he played for the Eagles, Rios would love that dude. That dude, I was shocked that he didn't get the 15-yard penalty against the Lions when he drilled Goff like that. Because that used to be the thing back in the day. I know you've only really been watching, what'd you say, like 7-8 years, something like that? So, like, back in the day, when a quarterback threw a pick, guys would go hunting for the quarterback so they could get a shot on it. And then that became a penalty. Like, you can't do that. Unless the quarterback is pursuing the tackler, you can't engage him. Frankie Louvu, like, Goff wasn't really running full out to tackle the guy that had the pick. But, damn, Frankie Louvu lit him up like a Christmas tree. I was shocked there wasn't a penalty there. But then, if a guy sneezes on Pat Mahomes, penalty.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get. I mean, God damn it. That game last week pissed me off so much with against the Texans. And don't get me wrong, the Texans' offense were terrible. You know what I mean? But their defense were playing really good in that game, and they kept them in it right till the end, more or less. But you've got the bloody refs. And you've got the camera panning up to Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark and then the box and I don't know how Josh Allen is going to overcome all that on Sunday night. I really don't know how he's going to do it. I know Josh Allen is playing absolutely fantastic, dude. He's had a really good season, probably his best season as a Bill, and he's had really good playoffs. But he hasn't beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs every time he's faced him yet. Was it like 5 times they played each other in the playoffs, I think, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And he can beat him in the regular season, no problem, but then he just can't beat him. But this time, he's got even more thing on his shoulders, pressure on his shoulders, because he's got the refs. And he's got and I know people don't want to hear, probably sick Chiefs fans, probably, most of all, are sick of hearing about everyone saying the refs are winning the games. But it's just so blatant.
We all got eyes.
Yeah, I mean, God, when I was watching the game last week and then I was going on Twitter during the breaks, the amount of stuff that was on there about the referees and the screenshots of how they, the calls that shouldn't have been calls, you know what I mean? Flags that were thrown late. And it was just like, it was absolutely ridiculous. And I respect Andy Reid and I respect Patrick Mahomes and everything they've done. They are elite at their jobs, you know what I mean? But it's at the point, but when you start like flouncing out of bounds when you get hit and stuff like that, doing like these, what basketball players do and stuff, it's just like, that was just like taking the piss. It was just like, I don't know how Josh Allen's going to overcome or like you said before, they're going to have to beat them like they're mad at them. You know what I mean? Like they really are going to have to.
Troy Aikman was calling it out during the game. Like, Troy Aikman was disgusted at some of that calls. He was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I mean, it's when the announcers and commentators are calling it out, it is bad, guys. It is horrible. Like you said, it was all over Twitter. Everybody commenting on it, left and right. I mean, we know these guys aren't perfect. Guys are going to miss a call here and there. They might miss a face mask, or they might call something a face mask where a guy gets his shoulder grabbed and they turn their head and think it's a face mask. I saw that not long ago. Like, a guy grabbed him by his shoulder and he turned his head, and the way he turned, it looked like a face mask from behind. But on the replay, he wasn't anywhere near the guy's face mask. He wasn't even glancing below off the face mask. But some of these calls that they're missing, like with the Chiefs, it's atrocious. It is absolutely atrocious. And going back to something you said, talking about the defensive coordinator for Washington, talking about, hey, if they're going to run him, we're going to treat him like a running back. We're going to hit him. We're going to hit him hard. So he better be ready. So you know what I'm doing with that? if I am Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, whomever in that organization, I am sending that to the NFL and saying, hey, you better have your guys watching this. If watch for late hits, watch for aggressive hits, shots to the head. You better have your guys on top of this because they have a running quarterback too. So if you're not calling it, we're gonna do the same damn thing.
Do the same,
so when their guy rolls out of the pocket and he takes off and we waylay his ass, don't be throwing no flags if you've not thrown one for us.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that shit. But that, like I said, that could benefit the Eagles because, like, say if Jalen does take off and he slides after a couple yard gain, hopefully instead of a 2 or 3 yard loss, say it's a 2 or 3 yard gain, and he slides and the guy takes a late cheap shot at him. They might be more willing to throw a flag for that, if sometimes because there was a play last week where Jalen got kind of pulled down out of bounds. He was 2 steps out of bounds and they didn't throw a flag. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I've seen somebody on Twitter say if this is Patrick Mahomes, they take the guy out on the 50-yard line and give him a cigarette and shoot him.
Yeah, they do. They take him to the woodshed and put him out of his misery.
They take him out back like an old broke down mule. One the back of the head.
Gone. So yeah, it's laughable. Like you've got to laugh at it because otherwise you're just gonna it's just gonna get
madder than hell like we are right now.
Yeah. I know. Right. Let's have a look at the matchup. So Elliot, I've stolen these from Elliot this week.
Elliot Shore Park.
Because
the beat writer we all need.
Yeah, the beat writer we need. We're big Go Birds fans. We both called in the Go Birds loads of times. Love Elliot, love James. But Elliot, if you do end up seeing this some shape or form, I apologise, but it's only because I do like the takes that you pull apart sometimes.
Hey,
so
list him in the tweet when you put this clip on Twitter. List him in the tweet. Elliot will like it.
I will.
Elliot Tiffany's mentioned.
Right, so let's have a look. So as we know, there's a chance Jurgens might not go this week, and like I said last night on one of my tweets, I have confidence in Dickerson and Tyler Steen. I watched Dickerson play in Alabama. He was a center for Mac Jones in Alabama, and he did a good job. And like he said in his interview last night, he's played on all sides of the line, through high school and college. And he's a smart guy. He knows how to call protections. He knows what he's, you know what I mean? I have a lot of trust in Landon Dickerson. He's a great physical, nasty player. He's just phenomenal. And Tyler Steen, when he's come in, he's done absolutely, fantastic. He's done really good. He's held his own, and he's been on the left side of the line. He's been on the right side of the line, so that can be difficult sometimes, for guys to adjust footing and things like that. So we start with Landon Dickerson versus Allen. He's coming back for Washington this week. So is it Jonathan Allen? I think, isn't it? Yeah, Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen is back. He's a good player, so they're going to be going up against each other. So I know we got Quinion Mitchell going up against Terry McLaurin. That's going to be a matchup. Quinion managed to shut him down in the first game that we played them. And then obviously he did give up a couple of big passes the second time they played. So, and then you've got
coming off that shoulder injury.
Yeah, so we don't know what he's going to look like.
We've not talked about that. I mean, you don't really need your shoulder to. Well, I mean, you kind of need your shoulder. I guess you're going to be pumping if you're running with somebody. But how's that going to affect him? Like going up to swat a ball away.
Yeah.
If he has to make a tackle, how's that going to affect it? We've not really. They don't really list injuries. It just says shoulder, leg, back, stuff like that. So there's just been speculation on the radio, like with AC separation or AC sprain, stuff like that. And we've heard John Ritchie talk about it, and some other people. Like John Ritchie said, I think he had to sleep in a chair for a couple of nights when he had one done, but it was so painful he couldn't lay down and stuff. So I mean, and he hasn't practiced at all this week either. I think he was held out yesterday as well.
Yeah.
But he's, like you said, he says he's going to play. He's a gamer. And, Isaiah, he gave up some plays last week, but damn it, Isaiah Rodgers has played well when asked to.
He has, yeah. He had a decent game last week. He did give up those plays, but then he made plays as well. Obviously, he picked up the ball when Jalen Carter punched it out.
Yep.
He broke up a couple of passes. So, that was another steal from Howie when you think about it, because, last year he was sat on the sidelines. He wasn't allowed to play because of the gambling
Yep.
restrictions. So he just sat there. Obviously, he would have been training and keeping himself, fit and stuff like that. But for him to just come in when he's been called upon, he's done okay. Does he need to be a bit more physical? I suppose yes, because he had that ball, he had that interception like ripped out
Yeah.
of his arms last week, which was a shame. But
But it seems like he's always in position. Like he's
yeah,
out, like he's always around the ball.
yeah,
He's never really been beaten really bad, I guess you could say. And like you said, he should have had that pick or at least a pass breakup, and the guy took it away from him. You got to give the other guy some credit too. I mean, he made a hell of a play on that ball to
yeah,
get it away from him. And
yeah.
I mean, they're both there to do a job, and he just won that battle at that time.
So and obviously this week as well, all eyes are going to be on with how good Jaden Daniels is and how he has got this offense rolling with Washington now these last few games of the season. It's all eyes are going to be on Vic Fangio going up against Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury, I don't think many people have ever thought much about him because he didn't do that great within his time in Arizona. He was okay. He wasn't, and he ended up, having to leave, and he went back as an offensive coordinator. I didn't really think he was going to do much, but he's done well with Jaden Daniels. We've got to give him credit. He's turned that offense around. So they've obviously, done really well. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And we've got
some guys aren't cut out to be head coaches. Some guys are just made to be a really good offensive coordinator. I won't say really good. He was a good head coach in college. He got a shot in the pros. I think he'll get another shot in the pros. We've not really heard his name brought up in this coaching carousel. But say Jaden Daniels comes out and has another really good year, not a sophomore slump like Stroud kind of had this year, but say he has another really good year next year. Then I think Kingsbury will get a little talk as for another shot as a head coach because it's tough in Arizona. Like they're not the model of consistency, so there could be a team wanting with a high pick gonna take a quarterback high or something like that because next year Arch Manning's probably going to be going pro.
Yeah.
It'll be his third year out of college or out of high school, so he'll be draft eligible after next year. Arch Manning has a really good year. We all know. Last name Manning, he's going to be a top pick. He's a quarterback, really athletic. I think he gets that from his dad Cooper. Not Eli and Peyton were quarterbacks. Cooper was a receiver. Yeah. So I mean, I think, and like you said, he struggled in Arizona. Some guys aren't cut out to be head coaches. Some guys are just cut out to be coordinators, and that might be his niche. But
that's what I think. I think Doug Peterson should do. If he, I don't think Doug is going to want to do that because he's won a Super Bowl. He's a head coach. I don't think Doug sort of sees himself as going back as maybe he'll go to college, be a head coach in college, possibly.
Doug may be done. Doug might go the TV route.
That's the other possibility.
He won the Super Bowl. He done anything anybody as a head coach would have wanted to do. And he might humble himself and go be an offensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's made enough money. He may be like, hell with it. I'm going to go enjoy my life. I've devoted my life to football up to this point. I've got kids. Maybe he's got some grandkids or something on the way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's got enough money. He may not want to fool with it anymore.
He's going to sit back on his recliner and enjoy his ice cream.
Hell yeah. Eat that ice cream, Doug. I think that's fair with you, buddy. I like my ice cream too.
So let's have a look at our last two matchups. We'll have AJ Brown going up against Lattimore. Lattimore's back. He's been injured a while. He's only recently come back into the fold. I'm not too sure what he's really played like since he's come back. So we'll see how that sort of, if he's able to, shut AJ down. AJ seemed to think that his knee is getting better and he's feeling a lot better week by week. So hopefully, we'll see some more AJ Brown this week. And obviously then, we've got Jalen Carter, going up against T. Scott. I don't know what his first name is.
The backup guard?
Yeah, I think he's the backup guard because Washington's one is out, didn't he? So I if I was the defensive line, if I'm Vic Fangio and Clint Hurt, I want to get as much pressure as I can. I want to take advantage of that side of the line for Washington. It's hurt. Do it, because if Cam Jurgens doesn't play, on Sunday, and Landon is in there at centre, and you've got Tyler Steenegar, Washington are going to target that side of the line with us. They're going to do the same. So I just hope they sort of, got that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, I agree. I think, man, I believe in Dickerson, but I don't know that he's as nimble and agile as maybe Jurgens is, because like you and I talked about earlier in one of our pods, like we saw a play where Jurgens was at center looking, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw a blitzer coming. He peeled off and went all the way around past Mailata and picked up a blitzer off the left.
He's had a hell of a season, Cam Jurgens. He's really, really done well.
Yeah, and I mean, with Dickerson being as big as he is, maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll help in the run game if Dickerson has to play. Dickerson's a mammoth of a man. He's like, what, 6'6", 3 something, and then Steen's probably 6'4". I mean, everybody on our line is going to be 6'4" and bigger. You know, when you look at these guys. So,
monsters.
I mean, run some damn 12 personnel and run it down their throat. And like I said earlier, beat their eyes shut and make them like it.
Pause.
Yeah. Pour it on.
Yeah.
But with A.J. Brown, too, and Lattimore, A.J. has not had a good playoff thus far. And it's, we're doing what we've done all year. We're running the ball and we're running it well. I don't care how we win as long as we win.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, everything going on, look for AJ to have a good game. With people talking about all week, if he catches that 99 out of 100 times, and if he catches it, we don't have to worry about it. It's an easy win. And if Lane doesn't give the false start, it's an easy win. And if Elliott doesn't miss the 2 extra points, we're not worrying about it. We're cruising to an easy win. So I think I'm going to look for AJ to have a good game. It's going to be cold. Not going to be any snow. It's not going to be as cold as it was last week. I think the high in Philadelphia is going to be like mid to high 30s. So, I mean, it ain't going to be the 20s with ice pellets raining down on you like somebody shooting BBs at you. But I think AJ's going to have a good game. Lattimore's coming off a hamstring injury. Hamstrings are tricky. It's going to be cold. That thing's going to tighten up. Maybe we get lucky and he pulls up a little lane, and AJ boat races his ass to the end zone on some play or something,
Yeah.
I'm going to say AJ has a big game this week.
God, I hope so, because it was that was mentioned briefly as well last week. Like AJ sort of had a quiet playoffs the last time the Eagles, like when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, and then the most yards he had was in the Super Bowl. He caught that big pass from Jalen at the start of the second quarter. He caught a few other routes and stuff. But in the Giants game and the 49ers, the NFC Championship game, he didn't have he didn't see a lot of action. So it was a lot of Devontae Smith and running the ball. So it would be really nice to see AJ, just get that success, because he's a hell of a player. I mean, he was the best player on the offense, but that's probably gone to Saquon Barkley at the moment, or they're like, joint at the top. But it's going to be cold, and I just I'm worried a little bit about Jalen's mobility. I mean, if they keep running the same sort of series of plays that they did last week, it's just not gonna. I was messaging you in the game. I was like, why are they running the same series of plays? It was the they'd run it a couple of times, just try to run it up the gut, wouldn't get anywhere, wouldn't get many yards. Then they try and roll Jalen out, do a little play action pass, didn't work, didn't go anywhere. And they did it like 2 or 3 times on a bounce on 3 series in a row, and I was like, what does he do? Why that has to be a Kellen Moore calling that, surely, you know what I mean? Or it's just that didn't make sense. They've got to wisen up this week, because you know what I mean. There will be opportunities to take advantage of Washington, and they've got to take them. They can't just rely on Saquon. Obviously, we want them to rely on Saquon to a certain degree, but there's going to be moments in the game where they might struggle to run the ball. They did struggle to run the ball a bit in the last game against Washington. I know Saquon broke off for that big touchdown run. Was that when Kenny Pickett came in, I think, was it? Yeah, and but other than that, I know they did well in the first game at home against Washington, running the ball. But Washington can stop the run if they need to. So this, they gotta get a little bit more creativity. They have the play calling has to be there. Ray Didinger said it. It'd be really good this week if Nick and Kellen and Jalen can all sort of come together and just
Yes.
find these passing routes that have
Yes.
got to be
Go
there.
over the
They have to be in the
concepts and
playbook
stuff.
somewhere.
Yes. Get together, get a little more in sync and in tune with one another and what they want to do. And going back to something, I'm not sure if I saw it on ESPN or what, but somebody reported, maybe in Sao Paulo, Antonio, I don't know. But they reported, yes, Jalen Hurts was at practice, but I wouldn't call it as much of a practice as a warm up, moving a little stiff. Okay, so yesterday on WIP, they were discussing, what it could possibly be. Could it be this? Could it be a slightly torn meniscus? Could it be a busted bursa sac and stuff like that? Hopefully it's just like a slight sprain or something like that. Hopefully, like when they had the cameras out at practice yesterday recording stuff, Jalen was moving a little stiff and not as nimble on purpose. Hopefully it was just nothing. It was, it was a little sprain. They got him good and doctored up. And before the game, like Ike talked this week, he'll get in line. He'll get that good goofy juice. He ain't gonna feel no pain. He's gonna run like a wild man. I hope they run a daggone read option play, first play of the game, and he takes it 70 yards to the house, running like his damn hair's on fire. And then Washington ain't going to know whether to shit or go blind because Jalen can run. They're preparing for Jalen because I'm telling you, man, they're not going to let Saquon beat them. They're going to load that box up. They're going to say, okay, if you're going to beat us, we're going to make him beat us. We're going to pressure you. You're going to have to pass block well, but you're not going to run it on us. So we need to be ready. Those quick developing routes to AJ, Devontae, Goddard. For God's sake, Mackay, do not get downfield on the screen pass. That was another play.
Oh,
We had a
I
touchdown
know.
on. And I don't know. I'm not a stickler for rules or nothing like that. I don't know every rule, but somebody commented on Twitter. They said if Goddard was still behind the line of scrimmage or on the line of scrimmage when he caught the ball, it doesn't matter how far down the field Becton was. And they showed like Goddard was right on the line of scrimmage. He wasn't past the line of scrimmage when he caught it. I don't know the rule. Didn't think to look it up until just now when you and me were talking about it. But
I hate that rule. I do. I hate it because where Dallas caught the ball last week, and then it showed, Mekhi Becton was ahead of the line and rather, but where he caught the ball, there was where Mekhi Becton was, there was no way he was like interfering with Washington because it would have been on the safeties and the cornerbacks at the back of the field to stop Dallas at that point, and they did. They brought him down when he caught the ball, and so that's why I hate that rule because most of the time when they call that, the linemen are not even like affecting the play because the ball is already gone. You can't stop. Maybe it affects it, when they're running, when there's run plays and stuff, and like screen, RPOs and stuff like that. But it's just like I just hate that rule. Just let the linemen go like that. That's what they're meant to be doing. They're meant to be blocking and knocking guys over. You know what I mean? They're just making it harder for guys to do their job. And where the ball was thrown to, where Dallas caught it, there was no way Mekhi Becton could have interfered in that play. I hate that rule.
It was ridiculous. And like I said, I don't know the letter of the rule or anything like that. But if that's the case, it wasn't a penalty because Dallas wasn't beyond the line of scrimmage when he caught the ball. But yeah, we've got to be on point this weekend. Everybody needs to be fired up, focused, and prepared, ready to go. Just for God's sake, get the win. I'm like you, man. I do not want to see Josh Harris hoist that freaking trophy on our field or in our locker room or wherever in the hell they do it. Somebody brought it up. Well, maybe they let the visiting team do it in the locker room. I don't give a damn where it is. I don't want to see Washington hoist that NFC Championship trophy in our building, in our city, nowhere.
You cannot let them come into Philly and do this. You can't like there's too much on the line. The story, his history, Josh Harris's history with Philadelphia, and lack thereof, I suppose, because, yeah, he's the owner of the Sixers, but he's, like we said just now, he's in the background. He just provides the paycheck. He doesn't care about the Sixers. He doesn't care about Joel Embiid. He doesn't care about bringing an NBA championship to Philly.
No.
He's got no interest, and the whole arena debacle, it's being moved again now. The arena, they're doing like a joint thing with Comcast with the Flyers. It's just like that was just a whole debacle, and he obviously is just just sell the team, just sell the Sixers. You know what I mean? Like you've got Washington, you've gone and bought a rival now in the NFL. Just get rid. Sell the team. There's someone out there who want to buy the Sixers who's going to want to, put their time and effort into building them as something.
Hell, let Lurie Middleton buy them.
Oh, yeah.
Let those two guys buy the Sixers, But, I don't want to see that guy hoist the trophy in our building. I don't. I don't want to see him hosted in the city, the parking lot, bathroom. I don't give a damn. Yeah. I just don't want to see them win. And like I said, we asked for it, though. We asked, we have received. Now we just got to hope the team goes out and does what we
think they
can do. They're the better team. They're top to bottom. They're the better team. The only, Jason Kelsey said, we're a better team, top to bottom, every position. I would probably say Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback right now than Jalen Hurts. I would. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The last, definitely, the last, part of the season going into the playoffs. Jalen's banged up again, so there's that. There's the holding the ball issue. He holds the ball the longest out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL. As with Jaden Daniels, he makes his reads so quick, and the ball is out of his hands. You know what I mean? Or he's off to the races. You know what I mean? As where Jalen is like holding the ball and he waits for the pocket to start collapsing, and then he'll take off and run. But by then, he's not gonna, make enough yards, or apart from last week, obviously with the big touchdown run, that was awesome. But yeah, right now, he is playing better than Jalen Hurts.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like I said, I like Jay. Jay's a good young quarterback. He is a better quarterback right now than Jalen Hurts. He is. But he's a rookie. You cannot let a rookie come into the league and win. That's why, they were saying that it was so loud in Detroit. And it was, and I'm sure it was. It's a dome. We need to show, our fans need to show these guys we ain't messing around.
Yeah.
Like I sent you that video from the NFC Championship in 2017 when they were all out there dancing.
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen Nate Sudfeld dancing, dude? Nate Sudfeld's
dreams and nightmares. They got to get something.
Just bouncing around like my old redneck ass.
That was something that I wanted to mention as well, which I don't think that would happen on Sunday, but if you remember back to the 49ers game last year, when the collapse started beginning, we lost. The 49ers came to Philly. They beat us like it was nothing. You know what I mean? They seemingly worked out how to beat the Eagles and all that crap afterwards. But if you remember, before the game started, they were walking over to I think they were coming closer to our sidelines, and they were on top of James Bradbury, and they were talking trash, and nobody was sort of backing him up. And you know what I mean? The team just wasn't you could see then that the team just was fractured. You know what I mean? There was something
mentally defeated.
Yeah, they defeat. Yeah, and I don't want to see anything like that happening Sunday. I don't want no goddamn that's what I loved last week was that the player for the Rams. Oh, I've forgotten his name now.
Jared Verse.
Yeah, Jared Verse.
Jalen Carter walked over to him.
Yeah, Jalen Carter saw him. He was straight over. What the hell are you doing? If you think you're gonna come here, pay me, or I want your game check if we beat you and all this. And that's what I loved that last week. And I don't want any shit like that happening this week. I don't want Washington coming in here thinking they can just because they're the hot team at the moment and all this. I don't think that will happen this year because the team is much more together. But
that will not happen because I think they got all the shit out of the way from last year. I think these young guys on defense, and I think Ike Reese made a hell of a point yesterday talking about people were kind of they weren't 100% in when we hired Vic Fangio because some of the Dolphins players were talking about him as he was walking out the door saying, he's this, that, and the other. Our defense is young. It is a bunch of young guys minus Darius Slay. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
Brandon Graham. And Brandon Graham is a guy who will take coaching from anyone. He does not care. He's
Yeah.
not too big. He ain't too proud.
Yeah.
And
No ego.
like all these young guys, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Kobe Dean, Nolan Smith, the Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, they're young. They're impressionable. This is their guy. This guy has set the culture for them.
Yeah.
Kobe Dean playing in the third and final preseason game to look what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Like, he took that left tackle out for the Rams last week. He jammed that son bitch's shoulder up in his daggone top of his head.
Yeah.
I mean, he took him out like he dipped down and he rammed him right into the shoulder. That poor dude, he was hurting from his asshole to his elbow. He didn't know what was going on. And it was just like the culture that Vic Fangio has set for this young defense
Yeah.
is so good. And if those guys tried that, I believe our guys would just be on them like freaking
Yeah.
flight on off, dude.
Yeah.
Like you'd have guys like Jalen Carter, Jordan Mailata. They would be over there quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. Like Jalen said it best in his press conference this week. You know, he said it's going to take everyone. It's going to take all the fans, all the city. And you know that stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be nasty atmosphere. It's going to be awesome. So I just hope that we're going to need the fans in that stadium this week to try and make an impression on Washington because
Real quick, breaking news on NFL Network: Pete Carroll is now the Raiders head coach. The Raiders have hired Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll's back in the league.
They wanted Ben Johnson, and Johnson went to the Bears, and Pete Carroll has now been hired as the Raiders head coach. That could be good. Pete Carroll's a good head coach, man.
He had success in Seattle, and he was good, right up until the end, really.
Yeah.
Until he went, and
he was there for how long? 10 years?
Yeah,
maybe longer.
Maybe a bit longer, I think.
I mean. Hey.
Yeah, but it's a rebuild going on in Vegas now, isn't it? And Pete Carroll sort of like he's shown that he can like build a good team culture and bring guys together and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the players in Seattle, they loved playing for him. You know what I mean? Like him and DK Metcalf, they had a really like strong relationship. You know what I mean? From the moment he drafted him. So that's I mean, Tom Brady.
The West
I know
tougher out there in the AFC.
Yeah, going to be tougher, I wonder who's going to quarterback there because you got, Minshew, he'll be gone, Aiden O'Connell, if they still got him in there, they'll probably retain him.
Where they pick in the draft, I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
It is in the first round, their pick. I'm sure they have to draft a quarterback. I mean, they're going to have to.
I don't know if it's high enough, though. Like, I know the Titans have the first pick, but I'm not sure who has the second. I'm not sure if the Titans Titans may be looking to trade, what I'm hearing around these parts. But anyway, that's another pod for another day. We'll get into that later on.
We'll get into the draft shows
after the ones I look forward to when talking about the Eagles' 32nd pick in the draft because we won the dadgum Super Bowl.
That's what I want. I want to be number 32. Number 32.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears, brother.
Yeah. Just it's been another great show. I feel a lot better now, to be honest. I do feel I feel better, but I still got that little bit of worry in me. But I feel a lot better, talking to you now. And we, like you said, we're the better team. We've got all the pieces. Who would have thought that we would have got here? You know what I mean? Around the bye week, we didn't think it was going to be even a possibility, to get this far. We knew we'd probably get into the playoffs, but didn't think we'd have a good run like this. So and for the NFC Championship, be coming back to Philly is just absolutely. It's just we're so lucky. It was so it's just amazing. So they just got to do it now. They got to put it all together. They got to make sure they're ready, organized, disciplined.
Fired up, focused, and prepared.
Yeah, get. Oh man.
So before we go, give us your prediction.
All right, let's go. Let's see. I'm gonna say I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring affair. I think it's gonna be like both games are really tight. to a certain degree. The last game was tighter than the first time we played them. So I'm going to say 24-20 Eagles.
You're in the same ballpark as what I was thinking. I think it's going to be a tough, hard fought game because of the injuries to our guys like Jalen, like potentially Cam Jurgens, Dallas Goedert. We know Quignon's coming off of a shoulder. Those are big injuries to key spots, man. Quarterback, starting center, starting tight end, starting corner. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere, but I think the Eagles win. Close game. I'm going to say 27-21. The defense finishes what they couldn't last time. I think Washington has, like I said, our ass is going to be drawn up tighter than a banjo string once again. We couldn't stop them last time. I think we stop them this time. I think Cooper DeJean gets his first career NFL interception to seal the deal.
Come on,
rookie to rookie. Eagles win 27-21. Go Birds!
Let's go. Let's hunt. Let's hunt, everyone. Thank you again, everyone. It's been a great show. Follow, like, subscribe, tune in. NFC Championship, baby, in Philly. Go Birds. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Love y'all, man.